As we keep a close eye on the new administration, one question we have been asking: is this White House for sale? Because there seems to be a lot of potential for this president and those in his orbit to boost their own bottom lines while he's in office. And that is especially true for the people closest to him, his immediate family. His wife, First Lady Melania Trump, launched her own cryptocurrency token just days before the inauguration. His son, Don Jr., is now part of a venture capital fund, while his other son, Eric Trump, heads up the Trump Organization. And despite removing himself from the West Wing this time around, his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, founded a private equity firm that does a whole lot of business with foreign governments, and he's also in partnership with the Trump Organization. But I want to take a closer look at the patriarch and some of his more recent business ventures. He's been making announcements on his social media platform, Truth Social, part of his media company, and by the way, he's the majority owner of it. He also has his own crypto exchange, World Liberty Financial, and just ahead of his swearing in, he released his own meme coin that is now worth tens of billions of dollars. I want to discuss it with Tim O'Brien, Bloomberg Opinion Senior Executive Editor and Trump biographer. Okay, Tim, it is no surprise that Donald Trump wants to make money. People have sort of, many people aren't happy with it, but it's a foregone conclusion. But I want to talk about crypto. And I know lots of people don't like it, don't want to hear about it. But shouldn't we care about the fact that people could be buying up his coin because they want stuff? They want favors from our government, favors that are not in our national interest. They pay Trump personally. They get things from our government.
You know, Stephanie, I wouldn't describe it as Donald Trump likes to make money. I would say that Donald Trump likes to grift. And this is a classic example of it. You know, a meme coin is a collector's item. It's not fiat currency. It really has no value other than the fact that someone's name is attached to it. And if you get enough interest in it and it begins trading, other people buy it, and then presto. In Trump's case, it's worth billions of dollars. And as you correctly noted, it makes our national security and our national interest vulnerable because it's very easy for outside entities to join the party and essentially capture both Trump's attention and his wallet by bidding up the Trump meme coins. The other dimension of this that is out of the box, both bonkers and unacceptable, is that one of the driving forces right now in driving crypto prices higher is the fact that Trump's federal government has talked about making crypto a storehouse of value and will be held as an asset by the Treasury Department.
Okay, so hold on a minute. Hold on a minute, because you lose people when we often lose people when we get to that point. So I want to just explain it a little bit slower, because by Trump even putting forward the idea, which he did today, he signed an executive order that he wants to evaluate the potential for a national digital asset stockpile. Again, people are tuning out saying, what does that mean? But don't we need to care about that? Because if they go through with that, that means if crypto blows up, the U.S. government could end up having another bailout for the crypto industry, one that taxpayers are going to be on the hook for. Isn't that why we need to care?
I think that's an important part of why we need to care. Hopefully, the banks and the federal government won't bring so much crypto into their coffers that it becomes a systemic problem. But let's take the word crypto out of it to make the issues here. You've isolated this in a really useful way. Donald Trump owns a platform that trades this stuff. Let's call it, he has an investment in a platform that trades this stuff. He has an investment in the asset that's traded on that platform. And he's putting the faith of the federal government behind part of the industry. Every part of this, he benefits financially from any increase in the price. And meanwhile, he becomes a target for foreign interests who want to get his attention or his loyalty. And he did this in many ways during his first term. Remember, there was the Trump Hotel in Washington.
But this is so much bigger.
But this is so much bigger. And the dollar amounts are far larger. And the issues that were present in Trump 1.0, that there aren't any real restraints ethically or legally around a president self-dealing and conducting business in the Oval Office. has been now compounded by the Supreme Court saying the president is also immune from criminal acts. And
all
Trump
right, well, what's your
reads
take
all
on
that.
this one? Okay, it is day 4. Donald Trump is making his calls to other world leaders. Think about all of the major countries around the world, people who he would want to speak to. And one of the very first phone calls he makes is to the president of teeny tiny El Salvador, which people might not realize is the first country to use Bitcoin as legal tender. And of course, soon after that call was announced, Bitcoin surged. What do you think about that? El Salvador, of all the countries in the world.
And the White House readout of the call mentioned nothing about the fact that they might have discussed crypto. It talked about immigration, Latin American affairs, and everything else. I don't think Donald Trump, on day 4 of his second term, is calling the leader of a small Central American government because he cares about immigration or any other issue other than the fact that they are a player in the crypto world, and he knows he's adding legitimacy to that by calling them, and he stands to gain financially from it. And until the White House becomes clearer about the content of that call and Trump's intentions behind it, we're just left to suspect that that might be the underlying reason.
I can't even believe I'm asking you this question, but here we go, because you mentioned Trump's first term. Today, the White House announced that Donald Trump plans to spend most weekends at his house in Florida, Mar-a-Lago. He likes to call it the Winter White House. It is not. It's his private home, but it's also a club. During his first administration, all sorts of watchdog groups highlighted the millions and millions of dollars he made from foreign patronage to his hotels, all the people who went to Mar-a-Lago, all the money the U.S. government had to pay because he was overcharging to have the Secret Service and his staff all stay there. Are we just going to get that this time around, but supercharged? Since he didn't get in trouble for it last time, he's figured out how to double down and charge even more.
Yeah, of course, I think that's going to happen. The other thing is if he's conducting official business at Mar-a-Lago and you have none of the record keeping or cataloging that you would have at the White House in terms of who he's meeting with and who he's visiting with, it introduces another level of opacity into Trump's dealings as president. And the more time he's conducting public business from there rather than from the White House, people should be concerned about what he's doing in the dark.